Welcome to the Canadian Retirement Roadmap, where we help you navigate life before and after retirement with clarity and confidence. I'm your host, Patrick Briscoe, and let's jump right in. Have you ever thought about helping your kids with something big? Maybe a wedding, a first home, or even a new business, and thought, they need it more than I do right now? It's a very thoughtful gesture and a beautiful instinct a parent can have, to give, support, see your children succeed. But what if that generous $50,000 gift you gave, say for a down payment, quietly turned into a $200,000 shortfall in your own retirement 20 years later? That's what we're exploring today. How love, money, and time all intersect. We'll look at something called the Rule of 72 to show how money doubles over time and how understanding it can help you give from a place of love and long-term security. Stick around until the end. I'll tell you where you can download a free guide that walks you through this exact scenario. For most parents, helping their kids isn't a financial decision. It's an emotional one. We give because we love, because we want to see our kids happy, safe, and secure. And we may tell ourselves, we'll be fine, they need it more than we do. But here's the challenge. When generosity happens without a plan, it can create what I call the emotional paradox of generosity. The same act that makes you feel proud today could one day make you financially dependent on the very children you are trying to help. Now, that's not to say that you shouldn't help, far from it. It's about giving with awareness, because when we give without understanding the ripple effects, then we can unintentionally trade our independence for generosity. Financial love has what I call a boomerang effect. It can circle back years later as strain. Or, if done thoughtfully, it can come back as legacy. So how do we make sure it's the latter and not the former? That's where a simple little rule called the Rule of 72 can change how you think about gifts forever. The Rule of 72 is one of those timeless financial principles that's so simple yet so powerful. And here's how it works. Take the number 72 and divide it by your expected rate of return. And that's how long it takes for your money to double. So if your investment earns around 7% a year, 72 divided by 7 equals roughly 10 years. So that means that your money doubles roughly every decade. Let's go back to that $50,000 example we used earlier. After 10 years, that $50,000 could have grown to $100,000. And then after another 10 years, so 20 years after the original gift, that money has turned into $200,000. And that's not just theoretical growth, that's the actual power of compounding and the opportunity cost of generosity. So it's crucial to realize that by gifting $50,000 today, you're effectively taking $200,000 from your future self. And that could significantly impact your ability to live comfortably, travel, or fund long-term care when you need it most. When we gift money today, we're not just giving that dollar, we're giving up that dollar and what it could have become tomorrow or 20 years down the road. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't help. It just means that it's worth asking, can I afford this without changing my own retirement plan? And that's the beautiful thing about planning. It takes the emotion out of the moment and brings it into perspective. It helps you give confidently, not reactively. And I've seen clients who initially do something like sell a property and want to give a portion of that to their children, change their mind or maybe give a little bit less once we work that amount into their financial plan, and they see what that dollar amount today actually equals 10, 15, 20 years down the road. Let's take a brief look at a real-life financial plan and how a $50,000 gift would impact it. So here we have the financial plan for Jane Smith. So real client data with a changed name for privacy reasons. And Jane is currently 61 years old. And the way that we've structured her plan has allowed her to fulfill currently 100% of her retirement. So that means that if Jane lives until age 90, we've structured it so that her investments will be able to last that length of time. Well, now what we want to add to the plan is a scenario that says, what if Jane were to gift $50,000 to her son from the proceeds of the sale of her home? So she's planning to sell her home in a couple of years and use those proceeds to help supplement her retirement income. And she's wondering, at the same time, can I give $50,000 to my son because he's trying to buy a home right now and could really use the down payment. So what we've done is we have added a strategy to say, what if we did spend $50,000 one time to gift to a child from the proceeds of the home? The graph that we're looking at here shows Jane's available investments now and into the future. We see a bump up in those investments a couple of years from now from the sale of her home, and then those decline over time as she uses those funds to fund her retirement. Now she is very close. In fact, in her 90th year, it's saying that her net estate will be negative $3,000. So she's already kind of stretching retirement and not leaving a lot of wiggle room for a stress test that we'll see in a moment. But let's just say things go according to plan, and we also want to gift that $50,000 now. If I implement that, we'll see that the investments actually deplete now a couple of years prior to age 90. And when we look at what we call a retirement paycheck, you can see that in the last couple of years of her retirement, ages 89 and 90, there's actually a shortfall due to the gift that she had given many years ago. And if we want to put that into dollars and cents terms, remember I said that her net estate was minus roughly $3,000 as it was before the gift. If she gives that gift, her net estate is actually minus $112,000 now due to those shortfalls in the last couple of years. So this is a very good example of how a $50,000 gift today, in Jane's case, results in about $110,000 impact to her retirement, which could cause some concerns down the road if she does need things like an additional couple of years of long-term care expenses. Now, in Jane's case, her rate of return is slightly less than the 7% example we gave earlier. That's why it's not quite doubling and then doubling again, but we can see $50,000 today equaling about $110,000 down the road does impact Jane, and it impedes her retirement. And now I said we would also do an additional stress test and say, what if on top of this, investment returns throughout her retirement also were not as high as expected? Well, that would push her shortfall even further, and she'd have a shortfall of almost 5 years. So now we can really see the impact of giving a gift early. If everything goes well, in this case, Jane is still a couple of years shy of her retirement goals. And if even something goes slightly wrong, she could be 4 or 5 years in the hole. So this is why it's important to enter into the plan your gift wishes to make sure that they are aligned with all of your other retirement goals. So how do you give without regret? How do you make sure your generosity enhances your life, not limits it? So step 1 is run the numbers. Whether it's in a spreadsheet, your financial planning software, or with your advisor, model the gift inside your retirement plan. Know what the future cost of today's gift will be. Step 2, ask the right questions. What does this gift do to your retirement income? Does it affect your travel plans, your long-term care options, your ability to help later on? Step 3, frame it as part of your plan, not outside of it. A financial plan isn't about saying no to generosity. It's about saying yes with confidence because you understand the full picture. Add the gift as one of your retirement goals, right alongside all of your other priorities. If your plan shows that you can give while still meeting your other objectives, then you can move forward knowing that your retirement remains secure and that you're helping a loved one from a place of strength and stability. I've seen clients who thought a gift might derail their retirement, only to find out that it was completely manageable. And in others, like in the example we saw with Jane, maybe it wasn't a good idea to give the gift. I've seen others realize that waiting just a couple of years made all the difference in keeping their plan secure. The key takeaway: love and money don't have to be in conflict. When you give thoughtfully, you can protect both your kids' future and your own peace of mind. Okay, so before you write that next check or transfer that down payment, take a few minutes to see what it really means for your future. You can download our free guide on retirement gifting and opportunity cost at bayswaterwealth.ca/podcast. It walks you through how to model a gift in your plan and shows what it could mean 10, 20, or 30 years down the road. Because the best gifts come from a place of love and a solid plan. If this episode made you think differently about generosity, hit follow or share it with someone who's thinking about helping their kids financially. It might give them the clarity they need to give with confidence. Thanks for listening to the Canadian Retirement Roadmap. For resources or to connect with me, visit bayswaterwealth.ca/podcast. Thank you and see you next time.
Trademarks owned by Investment Planning Council Incorporated and licensed to its subsidiary corporations. Investment Planning Council is a fully integrated wealth management company. Mutual funds available through IPC Investment Corporation and IPC Securities Corporation. Securities available through IPC Securities Corporation, a member of the Canadian Investor Protection Fund. Insurance products available through Patrick Briscoe. Independent of his role with IPCIC, Patrick Briscoe is also a co-author in the forthcoming books, entitled Financial Success for Pre-Retirees and Financial Success for Retirees, due out in early 2025.